Evolutionary.org episode 630 is coming your way. Today we have a special interview with New Zealand VIP VanLife_GymBum. And we're going to talk about his recovery training. We're going to get into his log. We're going to talk about the steroids and supplements he's using currently and what he's used in the past. He's going to go over his past drug problem. And he's going to talk about his fitness lifestyle and changes he's made in his life. We're going to talk about his protein king situation, how much protein he's getting, living in a van in life. Very fascinating life that he leads. We're going to talk about his charity stuff a little bit. We're going to talk about him leeching off the government. He's going to give some secrets on that for other people. And he's also going to get into a couple crazy stories. He's got so many different stories. He's really an entertaining guy. So thanks. You can look up him on the forum, VanLife_GymBum. You can look up if you search for him on the forum. You can also pull up his log. So really appreciate him coming on. First, to remind everybody though, we are on Apple, we are on Spotify. Really appreciate you guys leaving comments, liking, subscribing on all the platforms. It helps us pick up the algorithms and help us grow our podcast. So we're really excited to do these entertaining podcasts. So let's get right into it. Let's start out. And let's start with your log a little bit, VanBum. And your log is called First Testosterone Cycle and Beginner Training Log. So you can always go in the signature of the users. You can see my log, you can see Mobster's log, you can see VanBum's log, and it's always going to be in the signature to click. So you started out talking about, you started this log back in August. You just turned 40 years old. You are from New Zealand. Now, were you originally from Australia and you moved to New Zealand, or were you from New Zealand from the start? I kind of got confused on that.
Nah, the other way around. New Zealand's the only country I can't be deported from.
Okay, gotcha. So you were
Well,
born there?
hey, yeah, no, I was born in Wellington, but my dad worked at the airport, and Christchurch is a much bigger airport because it's like the main transit hub for like American planes going to Antarctica, like Starlifters and shit. And America's got like a defense force base there, so there's like high traffic airport. So when I was 5, my parents moved down to Christchurch, so I grew up there. But now that I'm actually 41 now, but now that I'm 41, I realize that actually I only lived in Christchurch for 10 years because I quit school when I was 15 and moved to Auckland and started working. So, and yeah, I lived there for 10 years, and then I lived in Japan for 2 years when I was 21, and then I moved to Australia and I lived there for 10 years, and then I overdosed on heroin, and my mum came and retrieved me, and now I live in New Zealand again.
Okay, cool. So let's start. We're gonna get into the drug stuff in the past and all that now fun stuff. Let's start with the log because that's a really fun log too. Very entertaining log. Mobster and I were talking about in the pre-show. One of the most entertaining logs that we've ever seen. You're already up to 59 pages and you started this log in August. So it's been an absolute pleasure reading through your log. So one of the things I noticed in your log is your diet and living in a van. And we're going to kind of talk about that as well later. But what are some of the steroids that you have used prior to this? What are some of the steroids that you've been using throughout your log? Talk about that.
I've never used steroids before. In the year 2008, this documentary came out called Bigger, Stronger, Faster. And I saw that with my friend. We like did some heroin and sat on the couch and watched that. And we thought that was dangerous. We're like, oh man, steroids are totally dangerous. Like, this will be funny. But then we watched it and we're like, they didn't sound so bad. They're kind of safe. And then we wanted to get in on that. Like, I really wanted to get in on that. He wanted to get on that. We're like, fuck, let's do this. Uh, but he like quit drinking and started lifting and doing steroids, and I just couldn't quit drinking, and I never did. Um, and I tried a couple of times to do it, but I even like when I had a cabin in Australia, I had like a empty 20-foot shipping container out the back, and I spent like a year building a gym in there. I just never used it. So I've wanted to start on steroids since 2008. I couldn't clean up my act to do it, and like, I knew that it wouldn't work unless I did, because I drank 24 beers a day. I can't like just pin that away. So yeah, I just never did. And then when I went to rehab and got sober, I've been sober 2.5 years now. The methadone that I used to do that crashed my testosterone. So when I actually had low testosterone, like, it ruined my life. Like, I used to have a high stress corporate job. And I went from that to like not being able to wake up in the morning. Like, I couldn't do anything. I was fucked. Couldn't even like keep my girlfriend happy. Like, nothing. So for the last 2 years, I've been trying to get the government to like, look at my low testosterone, but I didn't. I don't have any experience in the medical system. Like, during my addiction, I never went to doctors. Um, and they didn't want to help. But it took me like 2 years to realize that they weren't going to help. And in those 2 years, I started listening to this podcast. Like, yeah, it would have been a year and a half now that I've been listening. And
How'd you find this podcast, by the way? How'd you
Yeah,
find our podcast? I'm curious.
all the forums, because Steve said, "How did you come across the forums? Was that by the Oz members, or someone recommended it, or did you just find us on Google, or what?"
no, like, Spotify is like heavily restricted around steroid related keywords, and I haven't had like an actual computer. Like, I'm really good at computers, but I've only had a phone for the last 2 years. So I was basically inside the Spotify system, and all my search results were filtered. So the only thing I knew about was this other steroids podcast that isn't as good as your one. But one day I found this like other podcast that has Mobster on it with a series called Drugs and Stuff. And like, I worked my way back through there, and then I found the Evo podcast, and I listened to all of those, and you guys talk about logging, and I was like, fuck, I should totally do that. And then for the last year, I've like had that on the to-do list. But yeah, just
One
a
of
few
the
months
shows
ago.
that we did that had the biggest impact, Van Life, was one on addictions and changing your life. So that sounds to me like the one that you found, because although we
That
have
wasn't the
different
first one I
names, it's
found.
all, yeah.
I did really, I very much appreciated that episode. Yeah, I couldn't believe what a handle you had on it. Like, I know you've got a bit of a family connection to it,
Yes,
but
exactly. That's it. I mean, you mentioned the heroin, and I've said on that show that my brother Michael, who's passed away age 41, was a heroin user on the methadone towards the end. And I'll ask you this, as we will during the show. His saving grace, I think, was ironically having 2 kids, and that stopped him just essentially fucking himself up and dying a lot younger. And the only reason that he passed away at 41 was wear and tear on the body, not because of the drugs, but the drugs had caused the wear and tear. So yeah, absolutely. And obviously I touched upon this with my brother David, alcohol and so on and so forth. So yeah, look, some of our most popular shows, and we're talking about this with you today, have been on the effects of the fitness lifestyle. You mentioned the TRT, absolutely. We've just done a show where we talked about how hormonal humans are. So touch a little bit in terms of the PEDs and TRT. You mentioned just now that you won't really get treated with testosterone or TRT within the New Zealand system. Has being on TRT, has been using low dose steroids affected? I mean, I'm going to guess in a positive way how you feel, fun with the girlfriends, etc., etc.
oh, holy fucking shit, man! Like, everything's fucking changed. Yeah, no help within the New Zealand system, but I sorted it out within a week in the Evo system, so no problem fucking there anymore. I don't really like the word TRT, and my log is poorly titled because it's not really going to be a cycle. But what was the question again? Sorry.
What PEDs are you
I'm thinking the
using?
positive impact
and positive,
testosterone's
yeah.
made, your libido,
Yeah.
your sense of well-being.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, sorry. I've got short-term memory problems for some reason, but basically, those 2 years I was trying to get the government to do anything. My slowly the my testosterone didn't crash like the day I started methadone. It happened over the 3 years I've been on it, and it got worse and worse, and like slowly more symptoms came, and they increased in intensity. Like I couldn't like have the girlfriend anymore, and like my dick stopped working, and like lost all my drive. Like I couldn't even fuck doing stuff I like watching The Simpsons. Like that was too much. Fuck that. So I just stared at the roof, basically, more or less. Um, However, when I started testosterone, all of those symptoms that spent 3 years slowly building all reversed at once. So it was like fucking plugging into the Matrix or finding fucking God or something. But I wouldn't say my libido bounced back. However, yesterday I successfully jerked off for the first time in a year. So yeah, I think it's starting to work.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I just want to say with
sorry.
Monster, I just want to say with the
Yeah.
methadone, it is done for people who have heroin addictions.
Yes.
In your case, and the reason methadone causes low testosterone, it causes it pretty much almost in everybody who uses methadone, is because it disrupts your brain's hormone. So when you have that disruption in your brain's hormone, it's going to affect your testes. Your testes are not going to get that feed of the LH, so you're not going to be producing testosterone. So it's absolutely completely normal. So it is something really cool that you were able to find this podcast and get yourself basically covered on both ends. You were able to cover yourself with the methadone, and you recover yourself on the side effects of the methadone, which is a low testosterone. So that's great that
I'm just thinking, Steve. I mean, literally, this is the kind of person that Van Life is, announcing on his log, and I saw this morning, Van Life, where in a sort of oh my god, it fucking works kind of way, that he'd finally jerked off. Not that he hasn't had sex, because I believe you've been enjoying yourself in that particular regards, but not being able to jerk off. It's just one of those man head fuck type things that can play on our brains whether we like it or not, in terms of the whole erectile dysfunction shit. And you literally announced that you're successful this morning. And honestly, it's one of those weird situations that we never would have discussed years ago. The amount of likes and well done, etc., in a nice manly kind of way that you got, because for us, and I'm sure it's the same for you, it's an indication that you're moving in the right direction, that you're physically recovering, that you're taking control of your life, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that was absolutely fucking bad. I mean, look, you mentioned the 24 beers, you've touched upon the drugs, and we've had people like Harley Guy talking about absolute fucking disaster that's been for him. Tell us about the low, and then tell us about the high, in terms of your sort of gaining control in that way with the fitness lifestyle, being able to go to the gym, being on testosterone. So to give us a worst case example of how positive being on the fitness journey has been as well.
Yes, I didn't really put any time frames around that stuff, but like when I was 15, I spent my youth hacking computers and phones. I wanted to be a lineman, so I pretended to be one without permission. But that kind of landed me a job, and I quit school and moved to Auckland. And then all of a sudden, I went from being like a 15-year-old high school kid to getting paid like 50 grand a year. I was like, man, I could buy like as many porno mags as I want, and fucking it was on. I was like, it was great. I was like hacking all day for money and drinking all night, and like, doing stuff. Like I'd never been to a big city before, probably not by your standards, but Auckland's got like 1.5 million people. It's like, when you're from the fucking countryside, it was pretty big. And that's when I like my dad was an alcoholic, and I grew up around Alcoholics Anonymous, so I knew I was an alcoholic already.
Let's start with that before we get into how you changed. But what age were you when you first started drinking? Was it because watching your dad growing up?
No. My dad quit drinking before I was born.
Oh, okay.
Well, when I was 3 in the 80s. So like that's why I grew up around AA, because like he was always at AA, and like all of his friends are AA guys and so on. And yeah, so like I knew all about alcoholism, and when I started drinking, well, I started drinking when I was 13, but I was like obsessed with computer hacking. Like I was into like BBSs, and like I spent all night with my modem. Like I didn't, yeah, I didn't start drinking all the time right away until I was 15 and moved to Auckland and started having money. And like when I did that, all the guys at work were older than me. You know, like the youngest guy would have been like 25. So like we are always going to the pub at night time. Like you know, I never got asked for ID once. I was like 15. I'd go to bars, no worries. It was I don't know, just I grew up pretty fast up there, and but you know, I could never put it down. Like you know, everyone would go home from the pub at fucking 8 p.m. or whatever to like fucking see their wives or whatever lame shit they do at night. And like, yeah, I'd go buy a couple of bottles of wine and fucking go back home, you know. And I did that for over 20 years. Like those 24 beers I drank, I told you about, like that was 2 decades of that, not just like a couple of
Jeez.
times.
And then how did you start getting into heroin? Was just hanging out with the wrong crowd? How did that start?
Okay, so that's something that I did build up to. So I was never a doctor shopper. I was like a DIY guy. Like I was one of those like Arrowwood using psychonauts back in the day who tries to fucking, you know, get high on banana skins and shit. Um, Nutmeg, fucking whatever was in the anarchist cookbook. Once a guy told me that if you don't eat for a week and then you drink 2 liters of Gatorade real fast, you get high as fuck. So I didn't eat for a whole week, and then I drank 2 liters of Gatorade real fast, and then I sat around waiting for something to happen for like 3 hours.
Jeez, okay.
But so like when I'm drinking, I had work the next day. Like I had a full time job, like an IT career. Like I had to like go like wear suits and go into the fucking bank and like pretend to be a normal person. So I started getting hungover, man, and fucking it was getting harder and harder. Like I didn't start getting hangovers until I was like 18. I was like, oh god, and it was bad. But like one day, just randomly, I figured out that the opium tea that I was making, like occasionally, cured hangovers, and um, I thought I was a fucking genius. Like I'll just get blind drunk at night. I'll wake up. I'll make some opium tea. I'll smash that down and go to work. And that seemed like genius for a while. And well, by a while, I mean like 10 years. Uh, but then the opium tea stopped working, and New Zealand is not got a massive opiate scene. It's not like Australia. Uh, in Australia, there's like, you know, heroin, whereas, you know, we had like homemade stuff, but it was difficult. So anyway, the solution to that was to move to Australia where the heroin is. So that's what I did. And that's when I started working for BAE Systems. They like paid for me to fly to, you know, to move to Melbourne in Australia. And their office was conveniently located in the heroin district. So yeah, so I'd been doing opiates for like 10 years before I started using like heroin itself. But like my tolerance to opium was so big that the heroin didn't really work. That's why I was really pushing it all the time. And like, yeah, I started overdosing, but like fucking, I'd usually wake up. Once I woke up and my arm didn't work, like for like 6 weeks, my right arm, I couldn't feel it. It didn't work. I thought it would never work again. But it sort of came right.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that got a bit unmanageable, like to put it mildly. And
So how many years would you say you had the heroin addiction? From what age to what age? Was it all the way straight? Like, you know, or was it like, did you take a break from it and then come back? Was it?
oh fuck no, no breaks.
Okay.
Nah, nah, like so. If we think about opiates in general, not just heroin, I was addicted to opiates for 15 years
15 years straight. Okay. And how much money did you
until
think you spent on that during that 15 years, just on that?
uh just over 1 million probably.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's got to be about 500,000 600,000 US, Steve.
God. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
My brother at his worst was sleeping in a burnt out car and doing the equivalent of twice the weekly salary on a, I believe, daily basis or something, £500 a day at one point. And I never bothered asking. I didn't want to know what he was doing for the 500. But the idea that you are spending twice the weekly salary per day on drugs and then sleeping in a burnt out car because your focus is on one thing and one thing alone. There's a whole thing about addictive personalities, which I suspect Van Life's got a little bit of. There's also an argument scientifically for the whole opiate receptor kind of thing, because I've been around certain drugs and alcohol and occasionally tempted to go a bit crazy on alcohol, but mostly do not, obviously, and never really got the whole opiate thing whatsoever. And even when I've had brownies and shit, everybody else was laughing like idiots, and I'm sitting there going, I can't feel fuck all, what's going on, sort of thing. So there's a sort of there's a background thing, there's an opiate thing, there's even the addictive personality thing. You mentioned the older lifestyle, just be, you know, the guy at oil rigs and working in the forest and shit like that. And if the guys are older, they tend to be hard drinking, hard drug using, hard working, etc. And you're a teenager coming into that and trying to play catch up and fit in and everything else. So there's all that as well. Talk about the transformation from that, from the alcohol, from the drugs, and sort of moving in a different direction, finally getting a handle on things. I know you've done a 12-step program. Talk about that kind of part of your journey, and also into the fitness lifestyle, and to a smaller degree the testosterone thing as well.
okay, mate, sure. Yeah. So, yeah, like you mentioned this before, but I'd like to say that having a kid cleaned up my act, but that's not what happened. My kid was born in 2016 and did play, you know.
Oh, Michael fucked up for a couple of years. It's only when he started to think he was a dad that, and even look how old Harley guy was, and he had the whole teenage birthday before he got a handle on it. So it wasn't instantaneous. I wish I could say he had kids and he got better, because that never fucking happened. It took a while. It took him sort of realizing he was a dad. So maybe there was a little bit of that as well for you. I don't know. Tell us.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really the kid. It was the relationship. Well, I mean, so I had to work in, like, you know, either the military industrial complex for BAE Systems, or I was a director at a big four finance company at the end. And like when I joined the big four, I had like a corporate credit card with a $50,000 limit, 50,000 Australian, and I was expected to spend that at bars, entertaining clients and shit. Well, I certainly wasn't doing any fucking work, so like I went to the pub with that corporate credit card like every single fucking day.
Nice.
And I had an arrangement where my job for the big four was based in Sydney, but I had a cabin in the Australian rainforest up in Queensland. So I actually lived in the middle of nowhere in my cabin for 2 weeks, and then went to Sydney for 2 weeks, where I'd like really fucking hammer it, and then I'd go sulk in the bush for like a couple of weeks, and I did that for like, yeah, the whole time I was there. But that's when, like, one thing I never did was steal or anything. Like, yeah, my habit was huge, but I was getting paid like $250,000 a year. Like, I spent every last cent on fucking drugs and alcohol, but I never stole anything. I never did any fraud or anything like that. But like, I had much more money for it all of a sudden, and once the woman that I had the kid with left me, like, I took the handbrake off, you know. And in 2020 is when I flatlined, and I had so many drugs in my system that when I came out of the coma like 2 days later, I had like so many drugs in my system that from that 3-day bender that led me to the hospital, that they thought it was a suicide attempt, and they wouldn't like believe that it wasn't. I was just like getting fucked up, or trying to, and like I got them to call my sister and everything, and like, no, they just wouldn't believe it. So my mother had to fly from New Zealand to the hospital in Australia, and I was like signed over into her care. And she was like, you should probably come home. I was like, well, I think I kind of fucked up my job, so yeah, let's do that. So that was 2020 when COVID was happening. So I came back and went to COVID quarantine hotel and shit. and stayed with my. Oh no, it was 2021 actually. Sorry. Then I stayed with my parents for like 6 months. That's when I bought the van, and like I was working for the cryptocurrency exchange in the Cayman Islands. Like it was contract work, and it was. I was like, yeah, I was like doing way more drugs at my parents' house and fucking working like 18 hours a day. So that was pretty unsustainable as well. But I got like seriously big money from that contract. And what was left, I bought this camper van, and they're like, uh, I gotta like Christchurch was destroyed by an earthquake, and like it was awful. Like I tried to go back, but my parents lived out in the countryside, which is cool. But Christchurch itself is a fucking absolute shithole now. I couldn't believe it. So when I got the van, I drove it up to Wellington, and which is a much better city, and that's where I live now. But like, yeah, shortly after that, the van got stolen, and moved in sort of with this girl who let me stay, which was nice because I was like actually homeless, not like pretend homeless, like having a van and shit, like shelter. But like I was like, she owned a secondhand record store, and in exchange for letting me stay there, I was like working at her shop for her in the mornings. Like she had a house with her child and stuff. Like, she didn't stay there. But by that stage, I was drinking 6 liters of cask wine a day because I was on the dole by that point. I didn't have any like big four money left. So I had to like couldn't buy beers anymore. But yeah, that was a grim fucking existence, man. And that's when I like decided to go to rehab. So I went to I didn't go to rehab. I went to detox at the hospital because like I was so physically addicted to alcohol that I was already on the methadone program by then. I'd been on that for a year before I got sober from alcohol. So I went to the detox at the hospital. It was like a 10-day program. They detox you with Valium, and they put me on antabuse, which is this medication that means
you've mentioned that a few times on the log. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, like a week ago, I ceased doing that to make room in my liver for some oral steroids. But yeah, so that drug served me pretty good for a while because, like, throughout all this, you can probably imagine I upset my parents quite a lot. Especially when they got called that I was about to die and they should come watch. So my mum knew that I get antabuse from the pharmacist, and that's where I go for my methadone. So, like, I think it provided her with some comfort that I was getting methadone from getting antabuse as well. It's like, she knows I'm not drinking. And yeah, that's when the 2 years of low testosterone started, which one other thing I didn't mention is I kind of started feeling better in January this year after I left the girlfriend. But that was short-lived because I decided to do a methadone taper. I used to take 120 mgs a day. Now I take 90, but over 2 months I did an aggressive taper from 120 down to 80. But it like caught up with me really badly, and I was pretty much bedridden for like 4 months. And when I started emerging from that is when I joined Evo. Well, no, wait. I didn't manage to learn how. I've always like I said, I've wanted to get into lifting since 2008, but I could never crack it at the gym by myself. So I got a personal trainer, and I get like $300 a week on the dole, and the personal trainer was like $70 an hour. So I saw him once a week, and he initiated me into lifting. It was cool. So the 6 months prior to joining Evo, I had a personal trainer. So I was learning to lift via him. So I was already going to the gym when I joined Evo, and like everything was sort of in place for me to start testosterone, which was the fucking thing I was missing.
I'm just thinking, I've seen there's a PT, a trainer at our gym, and he mostly deals with female clients, and he's got a big fella coming to the gym this morning. And the one thing that I see when he posts about feedback from the clients, and I'm sensing this a little bit with yourself, is that in the case of the ladies, typically mumsy, got out of shape, bringing the kids up, all the usual shit. And when they're bigging him up, when they're saying, the change that he's made to them, it's not just always the physique, but it's the liking themselves again, liking what I see in the mirror, having that sense of control. You would have been all over the fucking place when you was a teenager, and obviously all over the fucking place in between. But the one thing, sometimes you can have one thing a week with the PT, that 1 hour a week where there's this person that looks after me, makes sure I'm doing my shit properly, makes me want to go to the gym. I know with your van, and we'll talk about that in a moment as well, you live literally in a car park between two gyms. I'm sensing from your log that there's a thing with the lifestyle of going to the gym. I mean, you talk about I've seen the photographs, how clean and tidy, well turned out you are, etc., because you can iron your clothes and look after yourself at the gym as well. But what about that literally going to the gym? Has that made a difference to you mentally, physically, in terms of being able to go there and what you see in the mirror and how you feel when you put yourself out there into the world?
Oh, fuck yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. So like, my physique actually only just started transforming, so it wasn't about that. But I was getting stronger. I was like, I worked up to 100 kg on the leg press with him. And he was really good at managing like my progressive overload schedule. Like he managed everything for me basically. Actually, I've been meaning to format up all of our session logs and like post it all in one go, just so like can see how I went in 6 months. But
That'd be cool.
like I really tried to learn how to lift by myself because like with computer hacking and like learning Japanese and like a few other difficult things, I've learned how to do it by myself. But the gym, I could just never crack it. Couldn't do it. So I've read like a million books about lifting, but I've done very little myself. But like everything was there to click into place when I started logging on Evo. Like once I started fucking like once I started posting on Evo, like I said, I had it on my to-do list for a year. Literally, I was gonna clean up my van one day and like find all of my to-do lists. I've got like at least 20 of them that say start logging on Evo on them.
Yeah. So let's get into your protein, because you're protein king, and I see on your log you stick to a lot of beef. The beef looks really good, man. You guys have good beef. Is that from Australia, or do you guys have beef in New Zealand mostly?
Yeah, there's more cows than people in New Zealand, but like we destroyed the whole fucking place with dairy farming. Like all of our rivers are unswimmable now. It's completely fucked.
Yeah,
because of dairy farming. But we export all that shit. Like that's what you're fucking eating, not me.
But so how do you get your protein overall besides the eggs and the beef? Like, what are some secrets? Because you've achieved the protein king. It's not easy to do.
The farmer's market. Tell them about the farmer's market.
Okay, well, I'm about to steal your secrets, actually, Steve. But I'll give you a brief rundown. So, like, I've been on and off the carnivore diet since 2018. That's why I made such fast friends with Todd the lineman, not just because I wanted to be a lineman. He fucking became one just by meeting some chick he used to sell weed to. I had to break into fucking phone company offices and shit, and I still didn't become one. But like, he read all the original source books, like Fat of the Land and stuff like that, from like 100 years ago. And that's how I got into it too, not through like influencers. I don't know how the fuck people get into it these days, but yeah, I went the same route as Todd the layman, and he started in the same year as me as well, 2018. That's when I had the cabin in Australia. I had that for 2 years. But that was like a high-fat diet, not a high-protein diet. Like, I was eating meat all fucking day, and I wasn't cracking 200 grams, like, ever. I remember seeing an interview, I think it was with Nick Walker or like one of those like massive guys like him, and they were saying that they eat like 400 grams of protein a day. I was like, 400 fucking grams? How the fuck would you do that? Like that blew my mind. And then like when I joined Evo and saw like Harley guy and his 700, I was like, oh, this is fucking wild. But yeah, by that stage, like Lev Butlerov had entered my life, and Like I think Lev has like changed me more than any one single person that I've ever met before. But like he comes like once a day or so to like look at what I post and like fucking repeat it back to me, uh, like with a proper interpretation. And like so, first he says like when I started, also take this GLP-1 retatrutide. Like that's why like I've been losing so much weight because like I was eating that high fat carnivore diet, like all those giant bits of meat that I had in the first 2 weeks of my log. Do you notice that I never post them anymore? It's because I can't eat that anymore. Like the day I started retatrutide was the last day I ate meat. And I used to only eat meat, so that was a bit of a change. But I woke up like the day after the first shot, and I used to drink instant coffee with full fat milk in it. And so like I wake up, make my coffee, and I had like 2 sips of it, and I power chucked, felt like completely fucking rooted, and I had to go straight back to bed, and I like slept till lunchtime. Um, and then like I went and like wrote that in my log, and like Liv came and said, "Oh yeah, yeah, no, you can't have fat anymore." I was like, "What? Oh, okay, shit. What am I gonna do?" He's like, "Oh, don't worry, man. Like, you don't need to eat anymore. You got like retatrutide. Just like get some fucking shake powder." I was like, "I'm not getting shake powder. That's like an industrial byproduct. No, 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 no. That's not me, man." He's like, "Oh, no, 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 don't worry about that. Like, just go get some shakes." I was like, "Okay, fuck." And I was like, initially annoyed that I couldn't find any plain whey without flavoring. Like, I was hitting up Harley guy in DMs, like, where don't get this shit. I went and photographed all the crap that was at the supermarket and made Harley guy look at it. And he's like, "Oh, this is all pretty shit, but you should get that one." But I got it. And then because of the Retta was kicking in and like I wasn't like eating and the shakes were actually all right. Like it was fine. Like I could get them down. Like 4 of those a day, and I was getting up to I don't know 250 grams of protein. But I was like, nah, like this is like chemical slop. I can't fucking do this. But I went to the farmers market. Like the first time I posted all those pictures of the farmers market that you're probably talking about, Mobster, is that day I bought 3 trays of 30 eggs.
Yes.
And I spent like a week learning how to separate egg yolks and egg whites.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to get the egg whites into the shake, and like I wasted so many eggs, and like I don't like wasting eggs because I've always had like sacred respect for eggs. I don't want to fucking waste those. And so I was just like, fuck it, fuck this, and just cracked like 4 eggs and straight into the shake, and it was awesome. It was like the texture, it was all in my head, man.
Yes.
Rocky movie that makes him fucking look so hardcore drinking eggs. That's all fucking bullshit, man. I reckon that Rocky was a psyop to stop us using steroids and drinking eggs. But after that, I was like, shit, I can drink 5 eggs per shake. And so I calculated, okay, if I spend my entire food budget on eggs and whey powder, I can have 20 eggs a day over 4 shakes. So I have 3 scoops of Optimum Nutrition whey powder. That's like they're 24. That's like 75 grams of protein, and then 29 grams from the 5 eggs. But there's much more to that than just the protein number. Like 29 grams of protein doesn't sound like that much, but that's 5 eggs worth of like all the crazy shit that's in eggs. So now I'm drinking 20 eggs a day with all of this. My baseline is 404 grams of protein because each shake's got 101. And then I occasionally have tuna and stuff. So 3 days last week, I hit 700 grams. I just wanted to walk in Harley guy's shoes for a little while.
I'm just thinking, sorry, from the farmers market's perspective, as Steve and I have talked about this on shows, I'm getting to that age now where I go and try shit. If someone's got a new cheese or they've done some of the baked pies and they brought pies to the market, you can talk to the person who's got the eggs because you can find out where they fucking came from. I mean, you're talking about, ironically, the company that I owned brought products from a company that imported protein powders from New Zealand, from the dairy companies. But as I get older, and we talk about this all the time, listen, guys, if you can get it from food over a protein powder, do so. And if you can get it local and organic, the best place for that has got to be from a farmer's market. And again, you'll get people that make their own pies, their own cakes, someone that makes their own fucking cheese. Sometimes they'll buy it wholesale and they'll sell it at the market. But you get to talk to the people there. You get to buy that stuff. And something, just as a quick key tip that probably Van Guy enjoys, if you're a regular buyer of their products, they start doing you deals. If they see Van Guy turning up again, they might give him something for free, or they might give him a little bit extra, or you can ask for something that they haven't got because you're one of their better customers because you're there all the fucking time. I just love that shit. Now, maybe it's a sign of my age. I've no idea. As a teenager, I don't think I did do shit, but as I've got older, I started to appreciate these things way more.
So let's get into your.
Absolutely, man. You shouldn't be eating out of fucking factories.
Yeah. I've made food at factories. Talk about living in a van, mate. Talk about the whole gypsy / whatever living.
When did you start that? Tell us the timeline, how you got into that. Was that something that you kind of fell into, or is it something you started? I know you talked about it on your log.
Oh, wow, I also talked about it like 5 minutes ago, but yeah, so when I got back from overdosing in Australia,
I think you hit the mute button by mistake. Can you unmute? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I bought after I returned from overdosing in Australia, I stayed with my parents for like 6 months while I worked for this like fucking dodgy American cryptocurrency exchange out of the Cayman Islands. And while I was doing that, I spent that money on a expensive camper van, like a, like fucking one that's got fridges and crap in it. But Christchurch was awful after the earthquake. It's just not the same place. So I had to get out of there. And I took the camper van and drove it up to Wellington. So that was 2022. Like January 2022 was when I came to Wellington. And later on that year is when the camper van got stolen. And then I stayed with the chick at the record store for a year. And then I had to leave the chick. So I fiddled around with some like fucking accounts I had left over in Australia. And I managed to scrape together enough to buy a 1996 Toyota Estima, which is a shitty SUV, basically. And that's what I spent all winter in, which was like living in a box, like Jay Cutler says you have to do to get swole. And
this is what I'm getting at, buddy. Not so much the journey to getting the van, but I think for most people, as you'll appreciate, when we're having this kind of conversation, it's not like having a caravan down the countryside and going there at the weekend. You're living in this thing all the fucking time. And for most of the building I live in is 4 times as big as any place I've ever owned because it's a former commercial building. You're living in something that's half the size of this fucking room that I'm sitting in while I'm talking to you. And I don't think most people that are listening to the show can get their head around it. But you manage. You're out there kicking ass. You're out kicking ass, changing your life. So try to explain that sort of maybe being outside try to sort of explain how you're outside the government, but we're part of it. You're doing your shit, but still being able to do it in a way that you are doing, which is successful, living in a van. And most people can't get their heads around it.
Okay, well, let me have a crack at that. So, it was a little bit depressing in the middle box thing, but there's some upsides. Like, you might have noticed I've only got one pot, so I can only cook fucking one thing at a time. So I have single ingredient meals like meat, or lately I've been cooking rice as well. But
you live near the beach, so you talked about skateboarding being by the beach. You live right next to the fucking gym, so you're literally able to get out of your van, and the gym is right fucking there. That for some people is amazing.
Oh, there's way more to it than that, man. Let me paint you a picture. So when I left the chick, I literally said I was going out for a pack of cigarettes, and I never went back. So I drove around like, where do I want to live? Like, I want to live in a rich suburb so there's no other bums at the fucking methadone clinic in the morning. I want to be near the beach. I want to be near a gym. I want a skateboarding half pipe. I want a basketball court. I want I want to be able to access mountains. There's like lots of hill trails around here. I need public barbecues. And so I found the perfect place. So my van doesn't start at the moment. That's why my step count's so high. I hit 35K steps the other day. But so where I am is there's a giant park. And at the side of the park is a car park, is where I am. Like, there's usually no one here, but yesterday my friend, who's also a bum who lives in a van, is now parked next to me. But so where I'm standing right now, if I wanted to go to the fancy R18 gym with all the Nautilus equipment that I usually take the photos for, I can see it from here. That's about, well, I'd have to cross the road and then like walk around the corner a bit. It would take me like about 90 seconds to walk to that gym. And then if I went the other way through the alleyway, then I get to the massive gym that's got, on one side of the gym, it's got pin-loaded Star Trek machines. And on the other side of the gym, it's got plate-loaded hammer strength machines. And then there's like 3 powerlifting cage rack things. And like there's a captain's chair leg raise machine, which is not at the other one. And when the PT was figuring out all my maxes, like one thing that I was like way better than everyone else at was hanging leg raises or the captain's chair. So like the first time I did it, I did 80 in a row and he stopped me. And so I go there to do those. But the like new R18 gym, like I know you complain about how there's fucking all these kids at the gym. Oh man, it's so much worse at this one. They're like at 3 p.m. it turns into like a fucking after school babysitting.
Yeah, you can, but you can go before then. You can go any fucking time you like.
No. That's when I go over to the R18 gym. That's like 3 times as expensive, and you have to be 18, and like there's just no one there. That's got private bathrooms and shit. So every day I go there like 3 times, and I like set up in the bathroom with my 4-way power adapter and plug my phone and my blender into charge and fucking have a shower. And today for the first time in my fucking life, I saw my abs come. I thought this was 6 weeks away, but I took my shirt off in front of my friend so she could have a like good look and see what's different. And like my abs, they were there. I was like, holy fucking shit. But yeah, I've been changing pretty rapidly lately. Like, I've been in like,
we love it. I've been in love it.
Yeah, me too. Like,
so what's a day like for you? Can you sum up what your day is usually like? What time do you usually get up? And then what do you do throughout the day? And tell us about your day as a whole, living the whole van life.
Yeah, man. So like, I used to never wake up, but now I like, I'm seriously, I'm happy. Like I've never been like happy and sober at the same time, but I am now. And like, I wake up in the morning and go. So like, I have to go to a different suburb, the one where Peter Jackson has his Weta workshop, where he makes the Lord of the Ring movies. My methadone pharmacy is right next to that. So like, basically my morning walk where I do my fasted cardio, that's like an hour round trip. So every morning, well, the pharmacy opens at 8:30, but I usually get there at 9:30. So like, yeah, I do an hour fasted cardio. Then I come back and have my first protein and my whey and egg smoothie, which I added salt to recently on the suggestion of Liv. And then I go over to the gym, the private gym, and just plug my stuff in and have a shower. And then I spend all day fucking around on Evo and listening to your podcast. And then in the evenings, I go over to the gym and lift. And in between that, I go on heaps of walks. Like about 20 meters to my left, there's a skateboard half pipe. But we're only just emerging from winter, and the weather's been real bad. So like when it gets better, I'm going to start skateboarding again. So I got the half pipe there. There's like a basketball court, and over the other side, about 10 minutes walk, there's a big roller skating ring, and I'm hoping to get back into roller derby. But the main plan for my equipoise cycle, which is going to start in a 6 weeks or 8 weeks maybe. Um, I used to make bone broth in Australia, and I really like that episode where Steve says that the true carnivore is not fucking eating ribeye steaks every fucking day, which I 100% agree with. And I was sick of buying fucking meat in plastic packaging. When I lived in the cabin in Australia, I had an outdoor cast iron potbelly stove and a giant army soup pot. And I used to eat fucking like lamb and stuff all week and save all the bones in the freezer. And then in the weekend, I'd biff.
Yeah, Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, biff them all. Yeah, that was my bad. Yeah, I biff all the bones into the soup pot in the weekend, make a giant fucking load of bone broth, then use some of that bone broth as the base of a big slow cooker stew. Nice. But I had this one other trick, because the other thing that Steve said that true carnivores do is eat organ meat, and I totally agree. But
yes,
how I used to do it was I'd grind up heart and liver, or dice it up with a knife into like tiny little bits. Then I'd get an ice cube tray and fill all the individual ice cube bits with bits of heart and liver, and then pour water over them to like fill them up so they're suspended in ice. And then I'd just swallow the fucking entire ice cubes like they were food. Like Harley Guy today linked to this thread where this guy was talking about eating toilet paper. Like, they didn't want the taste of yeah, like, wrap the fucking beef in toilet paper and swallow it to avoid the taste. I was like, no, bro, that's not going to work.
That shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy, we haven't seen that guy in a while. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he overdosed on toilet paper. I'm not really sure.
I can only guess. So one of the things I noticed, and Steve and I made this a point in our notes, you're also giving back to your local community there with some of the skill sets that you've had before. Am I right in thinking you've done some work on a local boat nearby? Is that correct? Sorry, I'm just getting a knock at the door, guys.
Yeah, can you unmute Van Bun? Can you unmute? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'll tell you about that. Yeah, so every Saturday I volunteer on a historic steamship. It was built in 1925 in Glasgow.
Oh wow! Okay.
But it's actually 99 years old, and we're trying to get it going again for its 100th birthday next year. And most ships these days have a lifespan of 40 years. So the fact that it's technically the oldest crane-mounted steamship in the world. So it's got fucking a steam-powered crane on top of the fucking ship.
Okay.
So, and it's like rusting and it's sinking and it's like 100 years old, and like obviously it doesn't make any money. It costs heaps of money. So like it's staff, like there's like about 10 or 15 like 80-year-old men who like used to work as boiler engineers and shit on it. Mm-hmm. They're now like well retired. In fact, they've been dying at an alarming rate, and they're trying to like teach other people how to like fucking drive this fucking thing. So my friend's been doing it for like a couple of years, and he learned to weld and also how to drive the crane. But like this thing's got like no fucking red tape. It's like, you want to have a go on the fucking crane? We can just climb up and fucking try. So yeah, it's a wild place. But yeah, I built a bit of trust and rapport, like volunteering every Saturday. And
yes,
right after I started Evo logging, they gave me my own key to the ship. So now I've got access to a fridge. I can go there and meal prep. And like I can take Tinder chicks there. Yeah, I've got some.
It sounds to me like, dude, it's kind of ironic. It sounds because I'm living in a very expensive part of the world myself. I was born and raised where I'm living, and unfortunately, where I live has gotten ridiculously expensive. It used to be cheap when I was younger growing up, but now it's fucking one of the most expensive places in America, top 3. And I think versus what the incomes are, we're the most expensive place in America. Now it's really shame how they ruined my state, these morons, these politicians. But not to get political or anything, but like my point is, like, you're living freedom. Like if I could just go live on a sailboat or live on a van in a van, that would be, I'd save so much money because I'm paying an outrageous amount of money every month just shelling it out like to live. So it sounds like you're living free. Like all the money you're saving just living in a van to me sounds like you just are happy and living like the most free lifestyle. It's kind of ironic.
I'm a little bit older than you, Steve. Just to interrupt, and I when I had my head up my ass in 2011, I literally VanLife wrote down what I fucking wanted. He's talked about making the choices for where he wanted to live and what he wanted to be, where the van was, and so on. And stupid stuff that I had a property, a compulsory purchase, the first and only property that I had a mortgage on. My brother David, when he was alive, you should buy a new house, and I'm like, no, I want the fucking freedom. So the idea of me having a mortgage and bills and shit. Yeah. So I have this huge place which I was very lucky to get change of use over. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have a fucking rent. I don't watch TV. I don't have satellite. I don't have half those fucking things. I have other things which I spend money on, but there's things that most people spend money on. I do not. So I kind of appreciate certain parts of what VanLife's done. I'm even, ironically, and again, this is an older way because I was never like this when I was younger. I love the idea that he's putting back into the community, helping out with that ship. I love the fact that he got, it's almost like a fucking adventure. Imagine when he said to your Tinder date, Steve, if your Tinder date, you go, would you like to come back to my fucking like boat? And it's going to be completely wild compared to like a little normal flat or a normal house or a normal two bed place in the suburbs. It's either fucking them in the van, to put it crudely, or fucking them on a ship. As sort of having a fucking penthouse apartment, you're doing different shit, and sometimes that's attractive and that's wild. So, again, for the benefit of the listener, you're not doing things in a normal I mean, you've had a crazy life already, but you're not even now, by choice, in some ways, doing things that are completely different and being okay with it, because you don't need all the things that we think we need. Most of them we do not. I've been stressing like a motherfucker about lack of fucking internet, yeah? So talk a little bit about that. And then obviously let's talk a bit about, and you've mentioned Lev already, so talk a little bit about the different aspects of the freedom. And then you mentioned Lev, the way that the Evo forum and family have been supportive and the kind of, do you feel like you found a place with us? Perhaps?
Oh, don't worry, I'll be mentioning Lev. But in a roundabout way, man, like the two of you, I owe you my life, man. Seriously, like all of the direction I got comes from you guys. Like I know I was just an anonymous lurker and you didn't even know I existed, but I listened to your fucking podcast every day for a fucking year. Like while I was waiting for my PT sessions every Wednesday, that's all I did. I've got notebooks full of fucking quotes dating back like a year and a half, just full of shit that you guys are
was it you? And I think it was you. I screenshotted what you said about listening to that leg training podcast. Look, listeners, it's a different show. You can find my thing and VanLife screenshotted, and what you've done is you took my vibe and you said, this just made me want to go to the fucking gym and lift and get on with it and whatever else. Look, we do these shows. Lev is helping you. The guys on the forum are helping you because we want you to fucking succeed. We want you to have a better life. We want you to get strong. We want you to get muscular. Talk a little bit about the Evo family and then give us one crazy story before we finish.
Oh, fucking hey, man. Like, I've been involved in underground subcultures since the 90s, like phone freaking, computer hacking, underground heavy metal, rave culture. I could go on. And forums to go with them as well, or BBSs back in the day. But I've never encountered anything like this. Like fucking the community is tight, man. Like fucking like there's a handful of guys, like 10 or 15, that look like, are my friends now. And fucking I've in all my time in the underground, I've like never seen a forum with a guy with the function of live. Like, not to mention the fucking like personality and like experience and skills to go with it. But like he's directing me personally, like based on my shit. Like how I got to this was like a bunch of trial and error, like going back and forward with him, with Liv. Like it was my idea to put the eggs in, but like I didn't think it was possible to only drink whey shakes. That's fucking crazy. Like, carnivore is real easy. It's like, yeah, you used to eat carbs for energy. Now you got to adapt your body to using fat. Okay, that's pretty fucking straightforward, and it only takes like a month, and you feel real good, and you can eat as much as you want. It's fucking sweet. But this is removing all the fat and all the carbs. Like, oh, what's going to happen here? It's like, yeah, but you're taking steroids. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm on fucking steroids. Like the absolute like ideal scenario, and it's all just working out. And like at the same time, all of my like I've always been a happy person. Like, well, I know that I was like mainly happy because I was high, but I was happy nonetheless. Like fucking, I wasn't an angry drunk. I'm not violent. Like I'm really good at running away. I don't stay and fight. Fuck that. And yeah, like, well, really quickly, fucking, like my entire life changed. Like a combination of like forum feedback, like camaraderie through Evo, swapping notes, fucking. Oh, like, you saw those photos the other day of Todd the Lineman, how fucking cut that guy was. I was like hitting him up in DM. I was like, how the fuck do you look like that, man? And he told me. He told me I did it. So, like, now I'm going to do that. But, like, I'm copying all you guys. Like, now that spring's coming, I'm about to. Oh, yeah, Steve, I fucking. Last week I joined a yoga studio. So, like, that's on the card. So, I'm going to go with the.
It's amazing. Like you said, it's amazing the stuff that you never thought about that people can share. It's just basically like a cornucopia of knowledge and experiences that people are putting together. And there's nothing like it out there. And we're the smartest community for that reason. Like other people, if you go on Reddit or you go on Facebook, it's laughable how ignorant people are on this stuff or any other bodybuilding forum. So it's
the thing of it is, Steve, as I said earlier, we are all enjoying this journey. We all listen. We've all come from different places. We all come from different jobs, different fucking IQs, different education, but we all share one thing, and that sort of passion. And finding like-minded people that want you to succeed. The comment you made, I'm just going to say it on Steve's behalf as well. That we did a show where I talked about a fella saying to me, stopping me 5 minutes before the show, "You saved my life," and I explained why. You made some really nice. Yeah, you really. I talk to him all the time, Craig, and you made a really nice comment saying that the influence that Steve and I have had with the shows that we do. And this is the reason why we fucking do this shit. It's the reason why the guys help you, because they see in you a person like themselves. Who, some of them are fucked up, same as you have. Some of them had crazy journeys, same as you have. Some worse, some better. And the idea that we can take control, that we can go out and kick ass in the gym, that we can be so fucking happy because we're seeing our abs. And then what will happen, and I think you're doing this already, VanLife, is your enthusiasm in this show, your enthusiasm on the forums comes across, and people fucking love you for it. They love what you're doing and everything else. Listen, VanLife, thank you so much for coming on today. We're up against the bumper here. I'm going to go to the disclaimer, but thank you for coming.
Yeah, next time we get you on, we'll definitely get into more stories and stuff, because I know we have a lot to get to. I know you have a lot to share as well. So keep up the good work.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. And like I said, I owe you guys my life, man. I'm serious.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you very much. That's what I want to do for sure.
Right. Please note, we are not doctors, and the opinions are ours. It is our view based on our experience and views on the topic. Our podcasts are for informational purposes and entertainment only. The freedom of speech and the First Amendment applies.